Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports Podcast with me, Lichia. So, this is going to be an all NBA show. It's going to focus on the play-in tournament and also the first round of the playoffs. So, let's get into what's going on today. The East play-in tournament was actually predictable and boring. And I'm actually quite disappointed in how the East play-in happened. There was no game where you were on the edge of your seat, like the West. And I think that just goes to show everything to do with what's going on in the Eastern Conference. And I think that the bottom half of the East is very lackluster and needs to be bolstered and needs to have a little bit of fun injected into it. But apart from that, I'm happy for the Celtics and I'm happy for the Wizards because those two are the two that actually deserve to be in there. On the other hand, the West play-in tournament, holy mother of God, it was exciting. Apart from the Memphis Grizzlies San Antonio Spurs game, the other two games were just incredible. And they were exciting, and they were exactly what the play-in tournament was supposed to be. An exciting way that we as fans were going to enjoy the next couple of weeks of playoff, the next 2 months of playoffs. So yeah, that was very exciting. The Warriors versus the Lakers, the game of the year. That's definitely game of the year. I don't see how that can't be the game of the year. It was exciting. I think also the fact that there was 6,000 people in attendance, that also was exciting too, and you could physically feel the Staples Center shaking. It was a hard-hitting, very well defensive-minded focused game, which is really good considering that the East play-in games were just high scoring and zero defense. It looked like they couldn't guard anyone, and they just were shooting up threes from everywhere. But with the Warriors and the Lakers, it was a defensive, hard-fought slog the entire game. I've actually got it on tape, so I've got it recorded so I can rewatch it again and again and again. I'm actually going to rewatch it after I've done recording this while I am making my family dinner. I'm going to rewatch Warriors and Lakers. So yeah, it was so exciting, and it was game of the year, and I loved every second of it, and it got the best rating out of all the games, so I'm very happy about that. Warriors and Grizzlies, that just got wrapped up about an hour ago. That was surprising. I was not expecting the Grizzlies to pull that off. Ja Morant, holy God, is he a good player. He is going to be such a lightning rod for young players, and it's a young, exciting, fun team that is about to head into a Lion's Den, but that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about the playoffs just yet, but yeah, and I think it was a passing of the torch moment for Ja and Steph. I think it goes to I think Steph's reign as the best point guard might be over. And I think it's going to go to Ja. Ja's the next Steph. And I'm excited to see how Ja goes, how Ja adapts in the playoffs. You know what's interesting is that Ja Morant and RJ Barrett have both made the playoffs before Zion. That's just interesting to me. It's just that interesting. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to round one predictions. Now, first I'm going to go to the East. So, the 76ers versus the Wizards. I've got the 76ers in 5. I just think that the 76ers are going to have much better talent. They've got a much better roster, and they're much better just consumed. But I do think that Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal are going to go off for one game, and that's going to be the game that they win, and it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. Nets versus Celtics. Nets in 4. I want the Nets to beat down the Celtics, and so that they never, ever, ever rise ever again. I know. I'm having a moment. I'm liking the fact that the Celtics struggled last year during the regular season. It made me happy. I'm sorry. Just my Laker bias is coming out right now, so I'm sorry. Bucks versus Heat. I'm going to go Bucks in 6. I just have far too much respect for the Heat after what they did in the bubble last year. I just have far too much respect for them, and I'm not going to say that they're going to get swept or that they're even going to lose. Just that they're only going to win one game. I just have so much respect for the Heat and what they accomplish. I do think it's going to be the Bucks. Overall, I think the Bucks are a much better team than what they were last year. They made some incredible moves. Over the off season, and I think that they are going to be there. And I think that Giannis is doing much better than what he did over the past couple of years, and I think that he is going to finally overcome his little hiccups in the playoffs. Now let's move on to the matchup of the round, I'm going to call it, because of the two competitors and who they are representing. The Knicks versus the Hawks. I'm going to go Knicks in 7. I believe in this Knicks team. If you haven't listened to my earlier podcasts, I believe in this Knicks team. I believed in this Knicks team since about maybe mid-Jan of this year, and I believe that they are going to make a good run. I don't know where they're going to end up, but I reckon they're going to make an amazing run, and it's going to be based off the fact that Julius Randle and Derrick Rose are playing out of their mind. And they've had a couple of days just to rest and recover, and they're going to have 15,000 in Madison Square Garden each night 1 and 2. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be really, really good. I'm so looking forward to it. So yeah, that's the East. Now, round 1 of the West. Jazz vs Grizzlies. Jazz in 4. Yeah, the Jazz are just so much better than the Grizzlies, and although the Grizzlies have shown some grit and grind with their matchup against the Warriors, I just believe that the Jazz are way more overpowering, and yeah, they're a much better team. The Suns versus the Lakers. I'm going to go the Lakers in 5. Yeah, this is going to be the upset, and I'm using air quotes as I say that, because the Lakers are much better than the 7th seed. They just had a few injuries, and that caused them to drip down. But apart from that, they're a much better team. I believe that the Lakers are going to gentleman sweep them, and it's going to be fun to watch and to enjoy. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Devin Booker and Chris Paul versus AD and LeBron. I really am. Got the Nuggets versus the Blazers. I'm going to go Nuggets in 7. I think this is going to be a long and drawn out series. The Blazers are awesome with Damian Lillard, and yeah, it's going to be a really, really, really good series. I think that out of all the West, this series is going to be the best. The Nuggets versus the Blazers. And then I am going to have the Clippers versus Dallas Mavericks. I think that the Clippers are going to get it in 7 because the Clippers tend to clip. And they don't necessarily take advantage of their best in-game. and they're going to have a couple of games where they just aren't focused. Playoff P is going to be pandemic P. Kawhi is going to be quiet, but I hope to God the Clippers and the Lakers meet it in the Western Conference. I'm looking forward to. I would be so looking forward to that. And if the Clippers don't get to the Western Conference Finals, I wouldn't be surprised if Kawhi Leonard just doesn't re-sign and decides to go somewhere else. I don't know where, but he will be definitely going somewhere else. That's just my prediction. So that's my prediction for round 1 of the playoffs. I will do round 2 coming up once we know where people are in terms of seeding and in terms of who has won what. The NBA award nominees have arrived. The finalists are, for MVP, it's Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, and Joel Embiid. I think it should be Steph Curry, but I think it's going to be Nikola Jokic. For Rookie of the Year, we've got LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, and Tyrese Halliburton. Now, I think that it's going to be between LaMelo and Anthony. I think they are going to interchange there. I am actually upset that Emmanuel Quickley is not on this list because he deserves to be there. I want to see how the full voting is because each voter gets 5 people to nominate. I want to see whether he was on that 5 of any of the finalists. But yeah, it will be between LaMelo and Anthony Edwards. I think it's going to be Anthony Edwards because he played the entire year. LaMelo got injured. Most improved player, Julius Randle, Jeremiah Grant, or Michael Porter Jr. It's Julius Randle's. Like, they should just hand that trophy over to him. The way that he got from where he was in the 1920 season to the 2020-21 season is just incredible. Julius Randle is an absolute star, and his games are going to go from strength to strength. Just a sip of tea. I'm sipping the tea, but I'm actually like it's actual tea, and because my voice is almost dying because it's so cold here in Australia at the moment, and the minute that there's a little bit of there's a little bit of chill in the air, my voice just decides that it's not going to work. I know, weird. Got Coach of the Year, Monty Williams, Tom Thibodeau, or Quinn Snyder. I think it's going to be Tom Thibodeau. I want it to be Tom Thibodeau, but I can see them giving it to Monty Williams just because of how good the Suns were. But seriously, Tom Thibodeau is Coach of the Year. From where he took the Knicks team from the previous year to now, is incredible. He's got the Knicks looking like an amazingly good team. Defensive Player of the Year, we've got Rudy Gobert, Ben Simmons, and Draymond Green. I hope it's Ben Simmons, but I think it's going to be Rudy, but I hope it's Ben Simmons, just as my Australia bias is coming out. Then for Sixth Man of the Year, we've got John Clarkson, Joe Ingles, and D Rose. Look, I love Joe Ingles. He's an Australian, so of course I love him. But I want it to be D Rose. However, I think Jordan Clarkson is going to win it. You know, this is actually a really big moment for Australia because we have 2 players that are Australian, that are in 2 categories of defensive player and sixth man. We've also got LaMelo Ball, who's a Rookie of the Year, who had a year playing in Australia in the National Basketball League in Australia. So, yeah, it's kind of really cool seeing how Australian basketball is coming about. So that is all for this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lichia. So I'll catch you all next week. Bye.